This evening, first, a WhatsApp status, a simmering feud over a woman, and one shot fired on a street called Hot and Spicy. A 26-year-old Linden minor is dead, and the man in custody was reportedly his close friend. Also, cracks in the opposition. APNU Leader Aubrey Norton accuses Azruddin Mohamed of shutting his party out of the local government commission nominations, warning it projects a fractured opposition to the country. Then step aside. That is what lawyers for the Mohameds are demanding of the CCJ President himself, citing leaked correspondence about a toxic court environment and allegations of political interference. They have given the court 7 days to hand over the documents. Meanwhile, 2 major hospital projects, 1 terminated contract, and a fight now headed to the international arbitration. The government cuts ties with Austrian firm over delays of New Amsterdam and Ogle, moving to secure the sites and calling the performance guarantees. And the Congo faces its worst Ebola outbreak on record, now spreading across 6 provinces with no approved vaccine for this strain. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for August 20th, 2026. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, a jealous rage, a taunting WhatsApp post, and a single gunshot on a street ironically named Hot and Spicy. That's the deadly chain of events that left a young Linden minor dead and his alleged friend behind bars. Police in Regional Division 10 are investigating the fatal shooting of Kieran MacDonald, a 26-year-old minor of Block 22 Wismar, Linden, and a Bosa employee, which occurred around 10 a.m. at Prashville, Wismar on August 19th. According to police, MacDonald was engaged in conversation with a man from Half Mile Wismar when an altercation broke out between them. During the confrontation, the suspect allegedly retrieved a firearm from a vehicle and fired a single round, striking MacDonald in the left side of his chest. He was rushed to the Linden Hospital complex, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The suspect was later intercepted by police and taken into custody at the Wismar police station, where he remains assisting with the investigation. No firearm has yet been recovered, though a 9mm spent shell casing was found at the scene. Relatives of MacDonald believe the shooting stemmed from a simmering feud between the 2 men, who were reportedly close associates. Family members said MacDonald had been going through a difficult period with the mother of his children and had accused the suspect of being romantically involved with her. Tensions reportedly boiled over on Wednesday morning after MacDonald allegedly taunted the suspect about his son in a WhatsApp status. According to relatives, the suspect went to confront MacDonald over the post. The 2 men argued at the home of one of MacDonald's relatives before the suspect drove off the Hot and Spicy Street, Wismar, where MacDonald later showed up, and the dispute escalated into a scuffle that ended with the fatal shot. The suspect allegedly fled but was arrested after reportedly returning to the scene. Police says investigations into the circumstances surrounding MacDonald's death are ongoing. Tensions have surfaced within Ghana's parliamentary opposition after APNU Leader Aubrey Norton accused opposition leader Azruddin Mohamed of sidelining APNU's nominees for the local government commission, despite earlier requesting the party's names. In a letter dated August 19th, Norton said APNU only learned through media reports that Mohamed had already submitted 3 names to President Dr. Mohamed Irfanali, Leola Narain and Leslie Lowe of Mohamed's We Invest in Nationhood Party, and Nicholas Chesney of the Forward Guyana Movement. APNU had recommended Joan Ann Ramasindo and Ronald Daniels, and Norton said the party expected at least 1 nominee to be selected, given its 12 parliamentary seats compared to Wynn's 16. He warned the exclusion risks projecting a fractured opposition and called on Mohamed to reconsider. Mohamed, addressing the matter, said Wynn selected who it believed best fit, noting other commissions remain under consideration. Correspondence shows that Minister of Parliamentary Affairs Gertrude Shearer formally engaged Mohamed on July 24th to begin constitutional consultations on appointments to the Local Government Commission, the Judicial Service Commission, and the Public Service Commission, whose tenures had expired. Mohamed's office, responding through Chief Whip Tabitha Sarbu Haley, confirmed his nominees for the Local Government Commission and acknowledged the President's proposed appointees to the Judicial Service Commission and the Public Service Commission. Separately, Mohamed has renewed calls for President Ali to appoint his three nominees, Royce Ford, Sion DeJorn, and Damien De Silva, to the Ghana Elections Commission, saying required consultations are complete. However, sitting GCOM Commissioners Vincent Alexander, Charles Corbin, and Desmond Trotman have not resigned, and APNU maintains no vacancy exists. Mohamed said he may pursue legal action and raise the matter internationally if unresolved. Moving on, lawyers for opposition leader Azruddin Mohamed and his father Nazar Mohamed have formally asked the Caribbean Court of Justice to bar its president, Justice Winston Anderson, from taking further part in proceedings involving their clients until serious allegations of bias and political interference are resolved. In a 14-page letter, their attorneys said the Mohameds were deeply disturbed and distressed and believe they may not have received a fair hearing. The Mohameds are wanted in the United States on charges of money laundering, wire fraud, and mail fraud connected to their gold trading business, with extradition hearings due to resume before Magistrate Judy Latchman on September 3, 2026. The legal team cited leaked internal correspondence in which CCJ judges allegedly described a toxic environment and accused Justice Anderson of attempting to override judicial independence and impose a decision despite majority disagreement in the Mohamed's case, which the court decided against the appellant on July 29th. The letter also referenced claims by PNC leader Aubrey Norton, who alleged that Justice Anderson contacted him last year to broker an agreement to fill the posts of Chief Justice and Chancellor of the Judiciary and pressed him to back government-preferred candidates. The defense argues such involvement, if true, would breach the separation of powers, since judicial appointments under Ghana's constitution are matters solely for the president and opposition leader. The lawyers have given the CCJ 7 days to disclose all related documents, correspondence, and records threatening legal action if their request is not met, and are asking that all relevant records be preserved. Justice Anderson has publicly rejected suggestions of political motivation, saying he acted only to protect judicial independence and stressed that the Mohamed's case was ultimately decided unanimously by all 7 judges. He has also condemned the leaking of confidential deliberations as damaging to public trust in the judiciary, and separately addressed a related controversy involving a judge's removal from a panel over a dispute concerning judicial attire. Stick around and return. Fake GRA officer in new scam allegations, and government moves to secure hospital sites, evoke bonds after terminating VAMID contracts.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31, 2026 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. It is the civic duty and legal responsibility of all Guyanese who meet the eligibility criteria to apply for registration. By so doing, you would be ensuring that you are a issued a national identification card and are included in the official list of electors for future elections, provided you meet all eligibility criteria. This registration exercise will end on November 30, 2026. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at a different address than the one you were registered at. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-02779 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. A man given his second chance at redemption has instead left a local business owner out $5,000 and questioning his judgment. More from Esther Sobers.
A man once notorious for impersonating a GRA officer is back in the headlines, this time accused of vanishing with the business owner's money after being given a second chance. Kevin Campbell, who made headlines in 2017 over charges linked to impersonating a Ghana Revenue Authority officer and a vehicle-related scam, is now accused of taking $5,000 from a business after securing employment there under the pretense of reform. According to the business, Campbell approached them about 3 weeks ago to seek work. He reportedly disclosed his troubles but said he needed honest work to support his child. Moved by his story, the owners decided to give him a chance. For 2 weeks, Campbell worked at the establishment and was gradually entrusted with cash to run errands, including purchasing fish from the fisheries and other supplies. He returned with goods and the correct change, earning the owner's confidence. That trust collapsed last Saturday. The business said Campbell was handed $5,000 along with his wages and was asked to buy a small quantity of vegetables before returning to work. He never returned with the vegetables or to the job. Repeated calls to reach him has gone unanswered, and the business says it has heard nothing from him since. The owners are now warning other businesses and members of the public to be cautious in any dealings with Campbell, saying others have raised similar concerns in the area. The business says he is left questioning how a man who worked alongside them for weeks and earned their trust could suddenly disappear with their money. They have gone public with the matter to protect other employers and are urging anyone with information about Campbell's whereabouts or similar experiences to contact the relevant authorities. For a business that believed it was offering a second chance, the cost has been $5,000. And a warning they hope others will take seriously. Reporting for Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. The government has taken legal steps to protect its investment in two major hospital projects after terminating contracts with Austrian firm Mohamed Engineering GmbH. Attorney General Anne Nandalal announced on his weekly Facebook podcast, Issues in the News, the contracts for the new Amsterdam Hospital campus in Region 6 and the Ghana Pediatric and Maternal Hospital at Ogle were terminated on July 23, 2026. Following persistent delays, contractual breaches, and the contractor's failure to bring the projects back on schedule despite repeated engagement, Nandalal said. The Attorney General said the government had made multiple attempts to resolve issues with the contractor before exercising its contractual right to terminate, noting that at the time of termination, the works were significantly behind the required level of completion. Following the termination, the government moved swiftly to secure both hospital sites and the materials on them and has begun invoking the performance security ties to each contract.
Steps were immediately taken to secure the site of both hospitals and the materials on those sites because the contracts so provide. And then steps were immediately taken also to call in the performance bonds. Both contracts were secured by very valuable performance bond, in each case to the value of 15 million euros. The government has taken the relevant steps to call in the outstanding sums in relation to each bonds. The bonds were put up by the Bank of Austria.
The dispute is now headed to arbitration under the auspice of the International Chamber of Commerce, as required by clauses in both contracts. The government has also appealed aspects of a High Court ruling concerning control of the site and materials, pending the formation of the arbitration tribunal. Nonetheless, stressed that the contract termination do not signal an abandonment of the projects, but reflects efforts to protect public assets while ensuring the hospitals can ultimately be completed. He also highlighted that although the ICC is based in Paris, the arbitration proceedings will be seated in Guyana. The government said its broader goal remains the expansion and modernization of the national health system, with continued investment to improve access to specialized healthcare nationwide. Don't go away after the break. U.S. presses NATO allies with loyalty questionnaires, and 23 killed, including 2 children in Brazil highway collision.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Gittins tonight. At least 23 killed in a head-on collision in southern Brazil. The US quizzes NATO allies on their loyalty to Washington. South Korea drills for emergency days after Trump cuts joint military exercises. And Congo's record Ebola outbreak spreads across 6 provinces with no approved vaccine. We will start in South America, where at least 23 people, including 2 children, have been killed after a minibus and a lorry collided head-on on a highway in Brazil's southern state of Paraná. The minibus was transporting patients and relatives to medical appointments when the crash occurred. Authorities have opened an investigation into the cause. Brazil recorded more than 34,000 road traffic deaths in 2023, according to the World Bank data. The US has sent a questionnaires to NATO's 32 members asking about their alignment with Washington's foreign policy, defense spending commitments, and restrictions on US military access to bases and airspace. Al Jazeera's Tanya Nouri reports.
For President Donald Trump, loyalty has become a defining measure of America's alliances.
I just want their loyalty. We don't need their money. We don't need anything. We have the most powerful military in the world by far. But I just want loyalty. You know, we're so loyal to them.
He has now tasked the Pentagon to determine just how closely NATO is aligned with Washington. Al Jazeera has learned that a document has recently been sent to the 32-nation alliance with questions covering defense spending and whether countries have shown a credible path toward committing 5% of their GDP annually on defense by 2035, if they have offered public support for U.S. foreign policy, and if they imposed any restrictions on the use of national bases by U.S. forces. Since returning to power for a second term, President Donald Trump has made it clear that he expects allies to demonstrate their commitment to the U.S., and he's also made it very clear that if they don't, he's ready to reevaluate the future of those relationships. In terms of NATO, the president has pointed to what he described as an inadequate response to the war in Iran. Yet many members have cited Trump's decision to not consult with them prior to launching the war on February 28th for their lack of enthusiasm. This all comes as the Pentagon is conducting its Europe posture review.
Make no mistake about it, this will be a real review. It will be designed to ensure that NATO is moving fast and irreversibly toward Europe leading, stepping up to take primary responsibility for the defense of Europe, stepping up to ensure our forces are postured for America's global needs, and stepping up to make sure that our access, basing, and overflight are clearly delineated and assured. Any other country would do the same.
Allies are bracing for U.S. troop levels and military assets across Europe to shrink significantly. Trump has already pulled 5,000 troops from Germany in May and has threatened to cut even more. But beneath the debate over spending commitments and cooperation, it will all come down to whether the White House believes its allies can be counted on. Tanya Nori, Al Jazeera, Washington.
People in South Korea are taking part in an annual test of evacuation exercises and emergency drills. It comes days after US President Donald Trump ordered cuts to joint military exercises between the two countries. Al Jazeera's Jack Barton reports.
Sirens sounding out across Seoul, alerting people to take shelter in underground spaces like metro stations, and for motorists to clear the road, allowing emergency services unimpeded access. It's all part of South Korea's nationwide civil defense drills simulating attacks by North Korean drones, missiles, and saboteurs.
Experiencing it like this gives people the capability to handle a real emergency if something were to happen, rather than going in without any practice. That's why I think it's necessary.
The drills are tied to the Ulchi Freedom Shield military exercises with the United States that have been reduced in scale and duration from 11 days to 5 after US President Donald Trump posted online that all drills would be scaled back out of respect for his good relationship with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, while calling the exercises too costly and provocative. He also pointed to Seoul's refusal to join the US in strikes on Iran. Many South Koreans wonder what it means for the defense relationship.
I think suddenly scaling back the exercises would affect our defense, and that shouldn't be done.
It does make me somewhat worried that it could pose a threat to our safety. So I hope this drill and the South Korea-US relationship continues to be maintained as it has been before, since we don't know how things with North Korea will develop in the future.
On Thursday, South Korea said it believed North Korea now possessed up to 120 nuclear warheads, more than double President Trump's estimate of 57. Trump says he wants another meeting with Kim Jong-un, adding preliminary talks are underway and the response so far has been positive. But Kim's powerful sister, Kim Yo-jong, says scaling back these drills has not made them any less provocative. And while she says her brother does have fond memories of President Trump, there has been no direct contact between Pyongyang and Washington about face-to-face talks. Jack Barton, Al Jazeera, Seoul.
The Democratic Republic of Congo faces its worst Ebola outbreak on record, spreading faster than previous waves across 6 provinces with no approved vaccine for this strain. Al Jazeera's Catherine Soy reports.
The Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has become the worst in its history. It's spreading faster than any other. But aid agencies say this comes as no surprise.
When the Ebola started, I think it was late, in terms of identifying the outbreak. Because the surveillance system is really broken.
Those in charge of the response say they're struggling to catch up with the virus.
We are already present in 6 provinces, so we will need to combine our efforts to quickly bring the epidemic under control while preventing the other high-risk provinces from being affected by this epidemic.
This strain of Ebola has no vaccine, but scientists say they're working on several tests. Some of them are in Uganda. Researchers here have been trying to understand the Buribujo strain, which was first discovered in Uganda in 2007. They found that the characteristics of what's in the DRC now are slightly different from previous ones.
The rapid development of this vaccine is dependent on how quickly you access the genetic composition of the virus. So what we did, providing a genome for the outbreak at the earliest onset of detection, is very critical to what happens upstream.
The outbreak is happening in the middle of a Congolese health workers' strike in a region where armed groups have displaced millions and killed thousands, and at a time of mistrust among communities who believe the virus was brought by outsiders. Some people have attacked treatment centers and medics trying to help. This incident happened on Tuesday at the border with Uganda. Health workers in Aru were attacked, some seriously. Their ambulances were damaged. This one was torched. Those trying to help say controlling the outbreak depends on winning the trust of those who live here. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera.
Thanks, Dominique. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's it to be 2 headline news for this Thursday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.